Hello, and thank you for having me today and giving me the opportunity to share some of my thoughts on the current trends in healthcare and the impact that technology is going to have on our future roles as we progress in our careers. Um, I think one of the best ways I can illustrate the impact of technology in the way it changes healthcare is by sharing my own story. My my son has been a patient with complex medical needs from a very young age, and from where I come from, the hospital and the healthcare systems would not talk to each other. So what would happen in order to make sure that whoever the new physician was in the ER or in the encounter, I always had to make sure that I carried this thick binder with me at all times, and I would be scraping for medical information so that I could keep that medical record accurate and up to date for my son. It was a frustrating experience for me to try to get those records and to try to get the different hospital systems to talk to each other in order to provide a good quality care for my son. Um, And during all those years, one of the biggest worries that started to haunt me was what happens if something was to happen to me? Who is going to take care of my son? Who is going to make sure that his care is given according his to his medical requirements? And so you can imagine that when I got the news that Alberta Health Services is now launching a pan province project where it is launching where it is integrating different healthcare systems together, bringing all the electronic medical records together so as to make sure that patients have access to their medical records in a timely fashion, without any delays, without any errors. You can't imagine the relief I felt as a mother. And I didn't have to worry about carrying that binder anymore. And so much so that I haven't looked at that binder for some time now. So it's good news. It's really good news. Now, the reason why I share this is that as healthcare professionals, um, as I worked in the system in the different roles that I did in the healthcare system, I never seemed to understand the challenges that patients face when they are trying to interact with the system. So as I became a caregiver and I started to look at things from the other side of the fence, I started to see the challenges that patients face when they're trying to get care, but also what works and what doesn't work, right? Um, I have been fortunate enough to be one of the small contributors to this immensely impactful project in Alberta's healthcare history. I have been a trainer, and I have been training the Connect Care software to employees as they get ready for their evolved role. And I can tell you from I have seen with my very own eyes the improvement in the way people now approach their roles, in the way the departments now interconnect with each other, not only within the hospital but across Alberta, and the way people are seeing the improvement in the quality of documentation that this technology is bringing. I think most interesting fact that I have seen is that people at one point, when they're integrating with the system, people at one point have this extremely interesting aha moment where they realize how much improvement in the quality of documentation they are seeing. Um, so you might be wondering how does this impact me, or how does this play out for medical office assistant. Now, a unit clerk and a medical office assistant is not no longer a figure who just signs patients in when they come in for an appointment. They are actually now the gatekeepers and the front face of the healthcare system. So as you enter the workforce, I think the biggest or the most crucial thing that you can do for yourself is to remain vigilant and aware of the changes and how employment is getting affected or shaped by technology. Without understanding this key component, your survival and progression may get affected. So we can say in many ways that technology, as my dear friend Rudy says it so eloquently, that employment is getting shaped by technology. And so as your roles morph, you will see that your roles will become more and more managerial in nature. The technology shifts will not only affect how you work on a day-to-day basis, but also how you will interact with your clients and how you will communicate with your clients. During the launch phase and during some of the trainings, I unfortunately saw a few individuals who I feared who are at a very high risk of falling at the wayside because they did not keep themselves updated with the technology trends. And so, and the reason why I share this with you is not to scare you, but rather to emphasize on the point that you need to keep yourself aware on these changes. It is your professional responsibility to keep yourself upgraded, to update your skills, and to identify ways to integrate them into your role, into your professional attitude, and the way you communicate your compassion and kindness towards your clients. I think this is going to be one of the most important skill sets that you will need to develop as medical office assistants in the future. And I wish you all the best as you forge ahead in this exciting career path. Thank you.